What is up, everyone? I hope you're doing well. Smart Money Sundays is back finally. I know it's been a few weeks, guys, and I apologize. Nate and I have just been extremely busy rolling out obviously our prop firm automation service as well as the account management side of things. So I do apologize for the brief hiatus that we've had with Smart Money Sundays, but nevertheless, we are back and ready to get rocking and rolling with it. So as always, we're going to start off here on some of the majors, and then we're going to work our way into a few of the exotics, things I'm looking at in terms of higher time frame analysis, as well as bias and draws on liquidity, kind of give you guys an overall narrative of where we're expecting the markets to head for the week ahead. So, if you've been following the markets lately, obviously things have just been extremely frustratingly slow, right? Just been kind of chopping around, and it hasn't been the cleanest type of wave play and enough volatility. All right, so that's where we kind of have to zoom out a little bit, kind of look at the higher time frames, the daily time frames, to kind of get a better idea and remove some of that noise that we're seeing and chopping around in the lower time frames. All right, so with something like EURUSD, you'll recall we kind of called out these buys. We did call out these buys from the last point of return here within market structure. And that was back in mid to late March, right? We created that higher low, the higher high sequence, retracement. We had that last point of return, and we kind of consolidated around that time for quite some time. Then we had our type 2 manipulation where we run the highs first, then we run the lows and subsequently expand, creating a new higher high. Right, and so now we've just been kind of chopping down. It's sort of corrective in my opinion. Right, this is a corrective move. We're not seeing any type of bearish momentum and significant manipulation to make me think that we're going to kind of shift trend back to the downside. Right, so at the moment we are just trickling on down, getting back down into kind of discounted pricing, discounting ourselves for potentially another expansion to the upside. So with that being said, I do think that further discount is on the cards here, and my eyes are kind of naturally drawn here on the daily time frame to our previous area of gap, our previous gap here, where I expect then to see some sensitivity in price. Right, so gaps you'll often find provide sensitive price points where we see that type of draw, that magnetization, as well as swift reactions from there, right? So with that being said, just given the fact that we are continuing to trickle down, and we can go down to the lower time frames here as well, right? This is more or less just a trickle, right? So until we get down into round about 1.0680, I do think continuation short on the intraday perspective are viable. And so I will be looking at runs on Friday's high, so previous day's high. We'll be looking at runs on the high and kind of buy to sell price action around the right time and price, London Open, New York Open, for continuations and rollovers on down into further discount here into 106.80. All right, so that's what I'm looking at there on EU. Again, on the lower time frames, it's just choppiness, and I don't really see anything noteworthy in terms of a sponsor candle or manipulation to be playing off of, especially while we're in an overall uptrend, right? So I will be looking for that type of lower time frame manipulation and buy to sell if I'm going to get an intraday short opportunity on that one. All right, GBPUSD, kind of similar situation where I have my horizontal line here is obviously where we had an old high. We had an old high here, right? And then price created equal highs relative to that previous high. We ran that out. We had a short little repricing, which you can see better here on the 4 hour, even better on the 45 minute. Right, this flip zone, right? The last repricing before the massive bear momentum came into the market, right? And so now naturally that we took out that buy side liquidity, as I always talk about, the objective flips immediately to a sell side liquidity objective. Right, we had equal lows here, and we also have ascending liquidity here as well, which I believe we're seeking out. Right, so we haven't run out any of this ascending liquidity, any of these lows, and I do think that's going to be the overall objective before seeing a potential expansionary move back up to the upside. All right, and so I don't really see anything, again, on the lower time frames here to be playing off of, and so I'm only going to be interested in this one if we do decide to run out some of this internal liquidity and get a push higher into our flip zone, right? At which point I would be looking for potential shorting opportunities from that on down, taking out some of these lows here, coming down into the 30-minute candle at 123.20. All right, I do think that's a potentially highly probable opportunity if it does manifest itself. So keep that level on the radar there for GBPUSD. All right, Aussie dollar, kind of a similar situation, right? We kept making runs on the highs. Again, just choppy markets we've been seeing the last few months. It just hasn't been ideal. It is what it is. We have to react and adapt to it and still look for the best, most highly probable opportunities, right? We've had run on the high, create relative equal highs, another run on the high, big full body candlestick digging and closing into a pool of liquidity with the railroad price action, right? Immediate reversal to the downside. And so now I believe that the new objective is going to be our flat lows here, right? This just simply isn't a low in the market, especially after an enduring downtrend. I do think that's going to be what's going to magnetize price is digging into that pool of liquidity. And so until then, I will be looking to potentially short retracements. And again, the only levels that I see as potentially viable for shorting would first and foremost be running out these internal highs, then up in and around this area of supply, this repricing, the flip zone at 6730. And if we do dig a little bit higher into this flip zone as well, 6766. Those are the two levels I would be looking for if we do retrace to potentially short this thing on down into our flat lows. All right, so keep those levels there on the radar. You have the overall bias and narrative, which is to the downside for the time being to seek out that sell side liquidity. All right, USDCAD. This is one that I'm looking at. All of these lows are very enticing in my opinion, especially these equal lows here. And the fact that we still haven't traded into our overall objective that Nate and I have been talking about for quite some time, that 1.321, and even on down, if you look at the daily time frame, even on down into 1.30500, right down into here where we had that last sell to buy, that engulfing candlestick. All right, and so I do believe we'll need to come into that objective before shifting back to the upside to take out some of these old previous highs here. All right, and so for the time being, on the lower time frames, you'll remember we had that kind of type 2 manipulation here where we had the run on the lows, run on the highs, and then the break lower. We took the pullback sell here at the mean threshold at 1.3620. Had a really nice trade back down into the lows here. All right, we've retraced now, and in my opinion, I still think we can see another run on the highs as this is our last kind of pause before that bear momentum entered into the market. Right, so 1.35 kind of 8 level. I think if we can get up into that, right, potentially run the lows, again, type 2, run the highs, and then trade lower, that would be really clean, right? Because we already mitigated here. We already took the entry from this level. So you should be break even on that and should have already taken significant amount of partials off the table, right? But I am going to look for that type of sell to buy to sell scenario here on Looney. All right, USDJPY. All right, again, this is one that we called out the big swing opportunities from in here, multiple opportunities from in here, and caught hundreds of pips, massive risk to reward. So congratulations if you caught that move. I believe we gave it out for free as well. We certainly gave it out to our VIP members as well as our kind of funded traders club members as well. But we created the relative equal highs here, which have now finally been run out. We've closed significantly above that level. I do believe UJ is going to continue to rise, and that is kind of in alignment with all of the yen pairs. I'm looking at further upside, and obviously we have a massive inefficiency to fill in here, and an objective 145 into 145.20. I do think UJ can dig into that, right? And so for the foreseeable future, I will be looking to buy retracements. And so in that case, now that we have taken out our relative equal highs here, I do think we're due for an overall retracement, right, back down into discount. And so our level from that we talked about on our live session, as well as within our private group last week, this down close candle here before the inefficient pricing at 135, I still want to get retracements down into that, right, get a nice discount, take another swing to the upside. And this is after creating relative equal lows, enticing those buyers prematurely, manipulation, dig into the pool of liquidity, and then hence the immediate reaction back up to the upside. Right, so if we can get back down into there, 135 round number, nice round number, I will entertain continuations. EURGBP, we did have an area of manipulation here, right? We had a low, we ran that out, sell to buy, created that high potential break of structure relative to this high, but we did just trade into this intermediate supply, and we're not seeing that type of bullish reaction that I'd like to see. I'm more or less kind of looking at this as potentially redistribution, right, for continuations to the downside with the overall momentum that we've been seeing, bearish momentum. Right, and so with that being the case, I do think we very easily could see, again, manipulation, internal liquidity, right? Maybe something like this, run that, trade into this area of supply, which ran buy-side liquidity, and then continue to the downside. Right, now if we do breach this level, right, and sustain, create that higher low, then, our bias can potentially shift towards bullish price action. But until then, I'm just not really seeing enough supporting evidence to believe that this area is going to hold and that the kind of trend is going to shift back up to the upside. So I will be looking at this level very closely to see how price reacts in and around 871 here on EURGBP. So keep that in mind. GBP Swiss franc. This one's a bit tricky. Again, it's just choppy price action. However, we did have this area of manipulation. You could classify this as a break of structure, right? And you come down into the lower time frame where we stopped, potentially creating a higher low. We didn't create a lower low, we created a higher low, and we're starting to formulate this bullish structure to the upside. Hop down even lower. All right, you can see it more clearly. Low, higher high, higher low, higher high. Now this is our current trading range from this low, right, to these highs. That's our trading range, and now we're just kind of chopping around. And so I'm kind of looking at this as a potential A into B into C retracement type of move, trading deeper into this area of demand. Right? In this case, I'd be looking for a run on the lows here, an accumulation, sell to buy, and then that would be added confirmation for that continuation higher. Right? And that way getting that 1 drive, 2 drive, 3 drive cycle that we always talk about. All right, so looking for that 3rd drive cycle, I just don't think we're quite ready yet here on GBP Swiss franc. That would fall into alignment inversely with EURGBP. All right, CADJPY, again, very bullish, very bullish. What time frame was I looking at? The monthly time frame. I do believe we're heading directly up into our up close candle here. All right, 104.50, currently trading around 102.20. Right, so I think that's where we're heading, and so I'll be looking for retracements to continue to buy into that level. Right, and so if we look at the lower time frames, I can't remember what time frame. I think it was a 3-hour I was looking at. Bear with me here. Yeah, I do believe it was the 3-hour, 2-hour. All right, just simply looking for areas of discount or at least equilibrium where we can look to continue to buy. And you can see that this is our last kind of area of supply here, right, where price traded into. We had that reaction and then boom, right, big bull candle, we break through that supply. So supply failed, right, and so that flips to demand. We have a nice little 2-hour doji demand candlestick that I think if we can trade into, right, and then accumulate, have that sell to buy, break a structure, then we can look at that as confirmation to continue to buy up into our higher time frame objectives. It's not to say we can't trade lower, maybe into something down here, but I think this is the more highly probable area, just given the bullish momentum we're seeing and the fact that this is where we breached that supply and flipped to demand. All right, so that brings us in around 101 flat, nice institutional round number. All right, so there you have it on CADJ, Swiss franc, Japanese yen, again, falling into alignment with all the yen pairs looking at bullish price action. Looks like we're seeking out the liquidity, the buy side liquidity resting above this high. And so I will be looking to buy retracements into that high. It's simple as that, right? Okay, so we've established the objective. Now we need to understand where our internal liquidity resides that we're looking to run out while simultaneously entering, right? And so naturally, we have sell side liquidity here, right? Just choppy price action, breaching higher, right, which I want to see then run into 152.50. It's a nice inefficiency here. If we can get that, then I'd be looking to buy into the high. It's very simple, very straightforward. All right, the inefficiency created with this big bullish candlestick here. So just filling that in, intraday discount continuation into 154 as the objective. All right. Similar situation here on AJ. I do believe we're going to seek out this high now that we've created relative equal highs. And so I don't really see anything that sticks out to me here on the lower time frames besides getting deeper down into here where we had obviously a wick. Had a wick, we consolidated, traded into that wick, reacted, and then failed. And then we created that bullish leg. So I think if we can seek out these lows here, trade deeper into 90, 90.4, then we can look to take out this high. Right? And that falls into alignment with that daily as well. You can see that that's the daily, the high within this doji daily candlestick. So we can get down into their discount continuation. All right, into 92.50. All right, AUDCAD, this one is interesting simply because we have triple equal highs here. Nice buy side liquidity that I think needs to get run out. Now, again, it doesn't need to get run out now, right? But I do like the fact that we had these relative equal lows here that we ran, accumulated, and have sprung from. All right, so that does look good to me. However, the only thing giving me pause is I'm looking at some of these other XXX CAD pairs that I'm looking at potentially further downside on. So that's why I'm only going to be looking for a reaction. Right, you can see retail traders likely trading the break and retest, right, continuation, and then boom, they get taken out. Right, so I think this would be a viable level to look for accumulation. Right, break higher, another higher high would be ideal. That way we'd have higher low, higher high sequence, then we can look to take that third drive cycle, targeting these equal highs here. Beautiful equal highs, right, at 9107. All right, so keep that level there on the radar there on AUDCAD. Right, just something like EUROCAD is obviously trading lower, right? We've traded into, obviously hourly supply here in this candlestick, right? And we're looking at further downside, which is why I'm explaining that AUDCAD is somewhat giving me pause trying to buy from that level, but certainly viable still. All right. CAD Swiss franc is another one I'm kind of favoring this week as well. After a massive sell-off, it does appear that we're starting to create that bullish structure after having run out this low, right? Sell to buy, right? And this is what I love to see as well. You create a trading range here, right? You consolidate, create a low, and then you expand that range, right? And then you ultimately look to seek out this initial low, right? I love to see that type of price action where we have a very expansionary move, right? You create an initial low, you expand the range, then you run that initial low, and then the range fully expands. All right, so I'd love to see that there on CAD Swiss franc. My level is 6,580. It's filling in some of this inefficiency here. Right, 6,580. Right, running out this previous low. So keep that area on the watch list. GBPAUD, just wanted to highlight trade given out last week to our VIP and Funded Traders Club within this supply. Very easy supply to trade off of. We're seeing a beautiful reaction from it. So those of you who are in it, you should be break even, looking to seek out this sell side liquidity here. So congrats on that trade. Nothing in terms of the here and now. You should be break even. All right, guys, and the final one that I wanted to highlight this week is AUD Swiss franc, kind of similar to CAD Swiss franc. And this is one again, right? We create that low, we run the sell side liquidity resting beneath this wick low, right? We fill that in, run it, and then break structure to the upside. So now as we approach discounted price, we're starting to consolidate, right? Type 2, run the highs, looking to run the lows, and I do like the 8-hour candlestick. All right, this nice 8-hour doji candlestick. If we can run into that, run out the sell side, look to accumulate another leg to the upside, trading up at least into our supply here. All right, so that does look really, really nice heading into this week. All right, guys, so that was pretty quick, but I hope you have a really good kind of general idea and narrative behind kind of our higher time frame bias and our objectives and the liquidity pools that we should be seeking after. So as always, please feel free to like this video, comment, or shoot us a message on Telegram at ArielFX Trading if there's something that I didn't cover here that you'd like us to kind of critique for you. Happy to do that as always. We have recently launched new spots available for account management on the prop firm side of things. So not only will we pass your prop firm challenge for you within a day or two, but we also offer that fund management service as well with a few prop firms. So if that's something you're also interested in, developing and establishing a stream of passive income, completely passive, we're shooting for 2 to 4% return a month. If that's something you're interested in, please feel free to shoot us a message on Telegram as well at ArielFX Trading, and we'll be happy to get you onboarded into that as well now that we have new spots available. But spots are filling up quickly, so you better jump on it if that's what you want to do. All right. Hope you guys have a wonderful week. VIP will obviously be in touch with you guys tomorrow morning. Send out those setups as usual. All right. Take care, guys. Thanks.